Wells Fargo. We're taking a look at a parking lot over Burlington. Not a whole lot of information that we have at this point in time, but we do have a statement from a Wells Fargo spokesperson saying we can confirm a hostage situation at Wells Fargo St. Cloud South Branch. We are cooperating with local law enforcement and will do whatever we can to assist the authorities in their investigation. We recognize this is a traumatic moment for the community and our colleagues. The safety and security of our customers and employees is our most important priority. Also being reported from our team, Fox 9 in Minneapolis, they're saying that police are responding to this reported bank robbery and hostage situation. This has been going on since 1:48 local time there. Still an extremely active situation. Law enforcement remaining on scene. You can see, looks like SWAT was in that parking lot right there. And it looks like a couple groups of people on either side of the entrance there, mostly law enforcement. Again, a reported hostage situation. We don't know how many people are inside of this Wells Fargo. There are no known injuries at this time. Also, no word yet on the suspect or suspects. So we're going to stay on this and try to gather a little more information for you, but it looks like they've pretty much barricaded off that entire building. No one in or out or even in the area. So again, just reporting for you, an armed robbery hostage situation in St. Cloud, Minnesota. No injuries at this time, no word on suspects or motive. Still a very active scene, law enforcement there on either sides of the building. Looks like this is in a pretty populated area. Our Fox 9 team there, their chopper overhead, trying to gather more details for us.
right, this is Andrew Kraft here with News Now from Fox. We've been continuing to follow this situation in St. Cloud, Minnesota at this Wells Fargo local bank branch there, where a hostage situation is currently underway after an armed robbery. That's what we're being told. Wells Fargo itself has confirmed that it is a hostage situation. They said, quote, "We're cooperating with local law enforcement and will do whatever we can to assist the authorities in their investigation." And this is Andrew Kraft here. We've been following for about the last 10 minutes now the situation outside this Wells Fargo bank branch in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can see a lot of people there gathered outside, probably wondering what is going on. We have aerial pictures from Fox 9 Minneapolis. Their other ground camera is moving a little bit. We're going to go over now to the aerials. And so we just learned a little bit ago that this is a hostage situation in which an armed robbery took place. You can see some of the members of the SWAT team there right outside the entrance to the branch, stationed there. We have that ground camera back. You can see, looks like some streets are closed. Some people, bystanders, potential witnesses, were just trying to get a glimpse or a look at the situation going on. But they've gathered, they've collected outside on the grass there. And there you can get a better view right now of this team, SWAT members stationing right outside the entrance to that Wells Fargo branch. Another team on the opposite side police on the backside as well for that entrance. So we're going to be following this story in the standoff situation to see if there are any more developments, to see if we get any more information, possibly that they could be talking to whoever the suspect or suspects are. We don't know how many hostages are in the branch itself. I believe it's about 5:15 on this Thursday afternoon. We're working our sources to get more information. Stay with us. We're just going to step away from that scene in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We do have a live report right now out of Houston, Texas. As you know, we've been following the story of Erica Hernandez. She's that missing 40-year-old mother of three. She's been missing for nearly 3 weeks now. Well, another search took place today near a lake. We're being joined by Fox 26's Ivory Hecker for the latest. Ivory, any more information or details on this search today? Did it glean any new information?
Well, there were high hopes when search and rescue crews working with police were scanning the bottom of this lake behind me, looking for Erica's missing black SUV. She disappeared with that GMC Acadia. So they were seeing if perhaps there would be a vehicle at the bottom of this lake.
They've collected outside on the grass there.
My bad.
We also have some eyewitness testimony as well that we want to show you at the moment. This is coming to us from Fox 9 in Minneapolis. Take care.
I feel like I get that name a lot.
And that was just one of our reporters out there from our Fox affiliate interviewing people who have gathered outside this very active scene right now on this Thursday afternoon. We don't know whether they're witnesses or just bystanders or just members of the public that are curious who want to see what's happening. So we will go out. We're going to get a live report in about 20 minutes time from the scene as well to get an update on what exactly is happening, any more information that has been acquired in this situation. But if you're just joining us right now here on News Now from Fox, we are following this situation, this hostage situation at this Wells Fargo bank branch in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can also see that it looks like police shut down many of the roads surrounding the bank as well, because you can see there's just one lane of one bound of traffic. And we are efforting more video as well. Once we have more ground pictures, we're going to show you those as well. Here at News Now, we have been calling neighboring businesses in the area, trying to see and get some reaction to what they've been seeing. I believe there's a, yes, like I said, nearby businesses at the moment are not responding to repeated calls for comment on what they are observing right now. We do have more ground video we want to show you here. Preliminary reporting suggests that police have requested hostage negotiators, apparently, after a silent alarm was activated for a bank robbery. Upon arrival, robbers were seen holding hostages. This is preliminary reporting right now. This is not from any officials, but this is what we are hearing. We're working to corroborate that. St. Cloud Police Department does confirm there are ongoing negotiations with the suspect. They say they're also not aware of any injuries inside the bank. Remember, we don't know how many hostages or people or employees or customers are in the bank itself. can see there is some movement there. You can see they are holding their weapons, kind of walking around, trying to devise some type of plan of action in order to safely conclude this hostage situation. And if you're just coming to us right now, we've been monitoring this for about the last 20-25 minutes out of St. Cloud, Minnesota, where we were getting initial reports that hostage situation was unfolding after an armed robbery inside this local Wells Fargo bank branch. We are hearing now from multiple agencies that are responding. And we're also just learning right now the FBI is assisting with this operation. We do know now as well, St. Cloud Police Department says they are negotiating with the suspect as we speak. They also say they're not aware of any injuries inside the bank at this time. Remember, this could all change. These situations are very fluid. And right there, you can see that was the reporter that we were speaking with in about 10 minutes' time from Fox 9 in Minneapolis. They're on the scene there. Hopefully, we'll get more information once we speak with them. But as you can see right here, these are just the aerials of the bank itself. You can see that some of those emergency response vehicles, police vehicles, SWAT vehicles are all kind of gathered in this other parking lot right there. I think that's outside some type of large department store or grocery store. I'm not sure what, but the Wells Fargo bank branch, you can see.
Yeah, well, police are presumably trying to negotiate with this suspect that's inside the bank. We know that an armed individual entered the bank just before 2 o'clock.
Because as I said before, we don't know how many employees or customers are inside. We do know that it is, according to St. Cloud Police Department, there is possibly just one suspect they are communicating with directly in negotiations. They say, though, like I mentioned before, wanted to reiterate that at this time, they're not aware of any injuries inside the bank. And so, like we've been previewing in about 5-10 minutes time, we'll get a live update from the scene itself on this situation unfolding on this Thursday afternoon at this Wells Fargo bank branch. Remember, that's how we learned of this. Wells Fargo, the bank itself, confirmed that this was a hostage situation and that they were working with local law enforcement in the area. Saying, quote, "They will do whatever we can to assist the authorities in their investigation." As you can see, police are blocking traffic in and out of the parking lot and the road that is adjoining there, right Right there, they have put roadblocks up just to make their jobs easier as they get this situation under control. And as I've said before, we are reaching out here at News Now to businesses that are in the vicinity to see what their responses are, what their reactions are to this, even if they know if it's even happening. And so at this moment, we haven't heard back from any of them at the moment. We do have that ground shot back for us right there, which you can see some people that were in the area are sitting down on the grass, taking it all in, trying to figure out what's happening, just like we are. And we are again efforting more information. We've been talking to some of the businesses that are surrounding this Wells Fargo bank branch, and this is what we know at the moment. The Granite City Pet Hospital right across the street still open. Some of these businesses are still open. This has not happened in the past, according to them, but they are aware of the police presence. They're still staying open. You can see the Burlington Coke Factory right there in the aerial pictures. They're not answering our calls. We've been trying to reach them to see if they have been closed early. But you can see, like I mentioned before, that the entire law enforcement team has gathered there in the Burlington parking lot as kind of a operation command center. And so right now we are aware awaiting information. Like I said, we will be getting a live report in about 5 minutes' time from the scene on the ground there on the latest information. Remember, let's go back to what we know already. This is a hostage situation at this Wells Fargo bank in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We knew from St. Cloud Police Department that they said hostage negotiators have been called in and are communicating directly with the suspect. According to the St. Cloud Police Department, they are not aware of any injuries at this moment. In situations like this, it is much too early to speculate or postulate about what a possible motive could be. That does come later, but obviously a lot of people who are witnessing this as we speak, a lot of people on the ground, in the grass, on the side, coming to take a look, must be wondering the same thing.
My leg.
And we are still on this scene right now, about 40 minutes after the fact. We just learned about this situation. These are aerial pictures coming to us from Fox 9 Minneapolis and their helicopter of a hostage situation. Now you can get a better vantage point of the pretty sprawling Wells Fargo bank branch. This is a vantage point we haven't seen of that yet. All right, and like I've been previewing for about the last 10 minutes here, we are going to be joined right now by Fox 9's Courtney Godfrey. She's there live on the scene outside that Wells Fargo bank branch. Courtney, what are you learning?
Well, good evening, Andrew. Yeah, this is a very active, ongoing scene out here today. I'll tell you that the armored police and the SWAT team have been out here for over 3 hours now, presumably negotiating with that suspect. We are told by law enforcement that this was an armed robbery. Wells Fargo confirming that this is a hostage situation. I did talk to one person, a mother of an 18-year-old who was inside the bank at the time that the suspect entered. She told me that the individual came in, was complaining about something with his account, and that he pulled out a gun and demanded that the employees take him back to the vault. At that time, bankers that were inside the bank at the time told all the customers to get out and call police. The individual tells me that she ran out. They called police. Police were here within a couple minutes. But again, we've been out here for more than 3 hours watching police. They look pretty relaxed right now. So presumably somebody's on the phone with that individual inside right now. But witnesses telling us that he came in with a gun and presumably they are trying to negotiate with him right now, Andrew.
And Courtney, I was also just kind of wondering, do we have any word on an update yet? Will police be speaking to reporters or the public very, very soon, or because this is still a very active situation?
We're getting no indication that law enforcement is going to address the media anytime soon. They've been releasing very little information. All we've heard from law enforcement is that this was an armed robbery. gallery at this Wells Fargo in St. Cloud. And just so you know, St. Cloud, Minnesota is about an hour and a half away from Minneapolis.
And Courtney, can we just talk a little bit about the weapon that you were mentioning? Do we have any type or sense of what type of gun that might have been, and if that's what negotiators right now are dealing with?
All I can go off of is what the mother of this one witness told me. She said that he entered with a handgun, as she described it, but I have no description of, no better description than that, is that it looked like a handgun. And she also told me that as she was parked outside the parking lot waiting for her daughter to complete this bank transaction, that she saw the individual in the parking lot of the nearby Burlington Coat Factory. She watched him and she said he did not look suspicious. He looked clean cut. He had brand new sneakers on. And as he approached the door of the bank, he put his mask on. So she thought nothing of this individual going inside until 10 minutes later, her daughter ran out saying there's a man with a gun in there, and they told us to call.
Courtney, just lastly for you, are a lot of the people who are kind of witnessing this on the side in the grass there, are they just bystanders coming to see? Do they work in the surrounding shops and businesses? Who are they exactly?
Yeah, these are just gawkers. There's a big crowd out here, and I'll tell you, when we first arrived, the St. Cloud police told us that they've been trying to clear these people out for hours. They keep coming over here telling them to clear the area. They don't want anyone within, they don't want the suspect to see this crowd out here, and they don't want the suspect to see the media out here. But I think they're also concerned about safety because we are just right across the street from that Wells Fargo bank. Andrew?
All right, Fox 9's Courtney Godfrey there, live for us on the scene in front of that Wells Fargo bank where this hostage situation is still ongoing. Courtney, thanks for giving us all those updates.
Absolutely.
And we are looking once again at aerial pictures of the scene itself. Wells Fargo branch right there. Courtney saying that she talked to a witness. And that witness said that the suspect may have been disgruntled about his Wells Fargo bank account, and he was carrying a gun. We don't know what type of gun or weapon, but he was armed. That's what we know now. You can see there were scores of people on the opposite side of where Courtney was standing, trying to get a glimpse of this as well, what we're watching. So, we were just made aware of this situation about 40 minutes ago. Courtney said she's been on the scene for about the last 3 hours. So this is a very, very long and tense and dramatic negotiations at the moment. And the standoff continues in St. Cloud, Minnesota. At the moment, we do just want to point out for you again, Courtney talked to 2 witnesses on the scene there. We have some of their response to what they were watching. Let's play that for you right now.
I will have to say that I'm kind of used to it in St. Cloud, though. There's a lot of crime that happens around here, but we always get the job done. So I think that it's going to be a good turnout. I think we'll get everything under control.
So many people out here watching. So I'm interested to know, what are you watching for? What are you waiting for?
I guess the good guys will save the day, right? I guess that's what we're all hoping for. A surprise, something good. We want a good turnout. So that's what we're hoping for.
Does it worry you that you know this person's in there with a gun and you're just right across the street?
Not so much. No, I think that we're very safe where we are. So.
Pretty much, I got around here when they got pushed back all the way, Great Clips, and then I've been here ever since. Found him, now we're friends, so that's about it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
We are going to move away from the story for just a minute here. We want to go out now to Louisiana, where you can see that Air Force One taking off right now. We have these live pictures. The president headed back to Washington, but at the moment, let's recount his trip there in Louisiana today, part of his Getting America Back on Track tour. Fox's Hunter Davis live for us in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where the president was today. We're just watching Air Force One, Hunter. It's taking off from the tarmac right now on its way back to Washington. Hunter, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Andrew, you guys are really getting a look at the good stuff. I mean, we got to see him here today earlier standing in front of the water, but seeing the takeoff of Air Force One really just never gets old. Like you mentioned, I'm here in Lake Charles. This was one of two stops the president made today pushing his infrastructure plan. The other was in New Orleans, which of course is now where he's leaving from. The president's American Jobs Plan is a $2 trillion plan, which includes a higher corporate tax rate and increased taxes on the wealthiest Americans. Biden saying today his proposal is about a choice between giving tax breaks to the super wealthy and to corporations or investing in working families. Biden using the I-10 Calcasieu River Bridge here in Lake Charles as a backdrop today. During its last inspection, the bridge was described to be in, quote, poor condition. Biden saying this is exactly why the nation needs his American Jobs Plan.
Here in the shadow of the I-10 bridge, I've gone over several times myself in the past. Perfect example how we've neglected as a nation to invest in the future of our economy and the future of our people. You know, I'm sick and tired of corporate America not paying their fair share.
Republicans, however, looking to slash the size of Biden's infrastructure plan. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell saying they will not support tax hikes to pay for the multi-trillion-dollar deal, instead proposing a $568 billion package that would focus on a more traditional approach to infrastructure projects. The president also taking a moment today to talk about the devastating hurricane season that, of course, left some lasting impacts on this area. While he wasn't specific, he did say he has been talking to the governor about getting Louisiana some help. Andrew?
All right, Fox's Hunter Davis there live for us in Lake Charles, Louisiana, recounting President Biden's trip there today. Thanks so much. See you again.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right, we do want to just take the moment because we are following this situation going on right now in St. Cloud, Minnesota, of this Wells Fargo bank branch hostage situation. Let's go back out to those live pictures that we have right now. You can see that looks like authorities gathering and meeting there in the parking lot of that Burlington co-factory. It's kind of their, operation command center to deal with this. We heard from Fox 9's Courtney Godfrey just a little bit ago that negotiators are directly communicating with the suspect inside. So it looks like and you can see all the people there that are gathered to watch this all unfold. We referenced them when she was speaking to us, but that police are keeping them so far back. Their police are a little concerned that this would add fuel to the fire, all this attention to the suspect inside. Right. Like I said before, we've been following that situation in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We just lost, though, our live aerial pictures. We do still have a ground shot we want to put up here. You can see this is right across the street from that Wells Fargo bank branch. We're being joined right now by Darren Wyatt, a friend of the program, a law enforcement expert as well, to talk about what we are seeing, how these situations unfold. Darren, can you hear me?
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being with us. We do have those aerial pictures back. Went to black there for just a moment. Darren, in these situations, we were being told this has been going on for well over 3 hours. But at the moment, it looks like police, law enforcement, SWAT, they're just kind of waiting this out. They look calm. They look like they're gathering information. What's going through their minds right now? What are they planning?
Well, right now they're gathering background information on the suspect. From what I've heard, he is a customer. He's known to the bank. He went in disgruntled, pulled out a handgun and demanded to be taken to the vault. So they're probably doing background to find out what kind of information they can find on him, what his criminal history is, if he has any prior mental health contacts, etc., like anything like that to gather that, as well as find out how many employees are inside, the layout of the bank, where could the suspect hide, where could he barricade himself. Anything that would be useful should they need to make an emergency entry if something starts going sideways and you start to put violence on the employees that are inside. So right now, there's no active shooting going on. It's kind of a waiting game where they're going to gather their intelligence. They're going to develop various plans, contingency plans, emergency plans, etc. Should they need to make an emergency entry and commit and do a hostage rescue, essentially. The thing that was kind of interesting to me as I watching the ground shots is kind of the jovial attitude from some of the bystanders.
And Darren, that's another interesting point as well, because so many people have gathered right across the street there. How do police keep them at bay in the hopes that they don't stoke this situation further, giving more attention to the suspect and the situation at hand?
Well, obviously they set up a perimeter, they set up barriers, and they keep people away. I will tell you, I'm watching the aerial shots right now, and as a former SWAT officer, I would be concerned if I was one of the officers on the ground right now that this is live and showing tactical positions. You don't know if the suspect is inside watching this and it's giving away the tactical positions of the SWAT officers. So I would caution against some of those aerial shots there.
And Darren, you can see the aerials, like you just said, and you can see the two groups of law enforcement on each side of the entrance. They've been there for some time. Could the negotiators be in those groups as well, or are they doing that via communication somewhere else? Are they on the scene?
They would likely be on the scene, but not up there. Those are quick reaction forces. Those are officers that are designed to make a rapid entry should something start going down where it sounds like there's violence occurring inside and they need to effect a hostage rescue. They probably have them at more than just the one location. They have contingencies. Should they not be able to make entry
these situations, as you know, can last for however long until the situation resolves itself. We are learning a little bit ago that their St. Cloud Police Department's not aware of any injuries at the moment inside. But as far as the building itself, I mean, this isn't like your very small bank branch. It looks like a sizable structure, and so do law enforcement kind of devise a plan in order to check all the entrances? Are they talking to hostages inside? Are they in communication with family members of the hostages possibly too?
It could be. I think that right now it's primarily intelligence gathering. Like you said, it's been going on for 3 hours. But one of the main things that they'll be looking at floor plans of the bank, any alternate entry points that they can make. If they're going to deploy gas inside, where are the vents? Where is the most effective? Where can they where they can breach without causing injury? Things of that nature. And right now, it would be a waiting game as long as there's no indication that violence is occurring inside, or that there's an immediate threat to harm or to the lives of the hostages inside.
All right, and we're still looking at these live pictures right now for those of you who may be just joining of the situation in St. Cloud, Minnesota, where a hostage situation is underway at that Wells Fargo bank branch. We're being joined on the phone by Darren Wyatt, a law enforcement expert. He's been around these situations in the past, no doubt. It's about 6 o'clock there. Darren, let's talk about what happens when it becomes nighttime, when the sun goes down. Does anything change? Would it be harder for law enforcement to make plans, to make their approach, to really act?
In some respects, it could be easier, especially if the lights are on inside the bank. They'll have the position of the detainees located into the lighted area where the suspect would have difficulty out from the light into the darkness. Now, should the suspect find a way to turn the lights off, sometimes they need to use on automatic timers or in a main control panel, as opposed to like in a house where you can just go on and switch off the light. If you could find a way to switch those off, it would be a little bit more difficult. But as long as lights are on inside and officers have the cover of darkness, it could actually make it easier and safer.
And Darren, can we just talk about possible use of force as well? I mean, in situations like this, is there just a moment when they decide to, go in and end this situation due to all the intelligence gathering they've done before? How do they grapple with, holding off, remaining calm, and then, being proactive, going inside and ending this?
Yeah, it's a very sticky situation. There's a lot of decision making going on. There's a lot of discussions going on about that. And like I said, contingency plans, emergency plans, etc. Typically, in a situation like this, if the suspect is being calm and rational and has communication with the tactical negotiators, they can kind of judge, and they'll be in close communication with the tactical commander, letting them know what the suspect's saying, what his actions need to be, what his demeanor is he getting amped up over certain things? Does he start making threats at these police officers? Or what is really going on in his mind and what they're gathering from him? Typically, unless there is direct belief that he's going to engage in harmful activity towards the hostages, they would continue to negotiate with him. However, there could be that point where they believe that the lives of the hostages are in danger, and then that would force an emergency entry in to try and resolve it. What you have to weigh here, especially in today's environment, you don't want to act too soon in a situation that could exacerbate the suspect's state of mind and cause a confrontation and the use of deadly force when it might not be necessary to wait a little bit longer. So that's really what they have to weigh here throughout their entire decision-making process.
And Darren, we want to thank you for being with us. Just a couple more questions as we continue to follow this while we still have these live pictures, these aerial pictures over this hostage situation in St. Cloud, Minnesota at this Wells Fargo bank. Another question for you, can you kind of go into, properties like banks that are, soft targets like this? What security systems do they have in place to immediately alert law enforcement when something like this happens? There must be a very large patchwork of operations for situations like this?
There are, there'll be silent alarms, there'll be panic buttons underneath the cashier's doors, there'll be the manager's office will have additional notification capabilities. Customers, if they're able to make it out, obviously can call on cell phones. Some banks have camera systems that ties into the police department dispatch center. I don't know what the situation here is in St. Cloud, but there are certainly banks that have those capabilities, as well as sometimes camera systems that have audio as well, so the police dispatchers can actually hear what's going on inside. So there are multiple ways that they can make those notifications. The other thing is that there are ways that they can barricade. If for some reason the suspect is able to get into an area that can be secured from inside, kind of like a robbery-proof zone inside the bank, you can make it more difficult for the officers when they're making treatment. Banks are very interesting institutions to try and breach and try and make an emergency treatment.
Darren, I don't know if you did hear our report from one of our journalists on the ground there from Fox 9 in Minneapolis that she was hearing from witnesses that this was potentially, the suspect rather, was someone who may have been disgruntled about their existing Wells Fargo bank account. So I know in situations like this, much too early yet for possible motive or speculating on what led someone to do this. But just want to put that out there as well.
Yeah, I had heard that, and at this point, we don't know if it's an actual bank account or maybe it's a mortgage account, maybe it's being foreclosed on, or it could be any number of things that cause this person to be disgruntled and go to the local branch and think that they can take matters into their own hands. And it did not work out well for the suspect, usually. Hopefully, it can be resolved without anybody being injured, including the suspect. But law enforcement's there and they're ready to take action should it become necessary.
All right, on the phone with us here on News Now from Fox, Darren Wyatt, law enforcement expert. So good to speak with you on this situation right now. That was very enlightening. We'll speak to you again. And so we will be continuing to follow this here on News Now from Fox, though. At the moment, we do just want to take a quick commercial break. We're going to leave these aerial pictures up, and if we get any more information, we'll bring that to you right away. Stay tuned with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back here to News Now from Fox. This is Andrew Kraft, and we are going to step away from this at the moment, but throughout the evening here, we are going to be updating you on this story as it progresses. In case as well, if we do hear from police, hopefully a little later tonight, if this does wrap up in a timely manner, we'll hear from them in some type of press conference. We don't have any information on that just yet, but we do want to move on to some other stories at the moment. We just heard from Fox's Hunter Davis. She was there in Lake Charles, Louisiana, for President Biden's speech, touting and pushing for the American Jobs Plan, the passage of that. It's just a proposal right now, but let's hear from him himself. We want to play this out for you once again. He's in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
There are more than 45,000 bridges that are structurally deficient. Every day, Americans cross these bridges 178 million times, and they are structurally deficient. We've seen what happens when they deteriorate. Remember a few years ago, two counties over in Mississippi had to shut down more than 60 bridges. 60 bridges. People, those communities were rerouted from 40 to 50 miles with half-hour to hour delays. One of the areas when I was doing this Rockport, Pennsylvania, there was a large shopping center, school, say about that, and the bridge across it was deficient. There was a fire station just an eyesight from here to the others to that park. But guess what? When there was a burn, when there was a fire, it took them, they had to go up 9 miles to find the bridge was back. By that time, a hell of a lot of damage was done. The bridge is all over America, big and small, like that. A few years ago, as I said, we found ourselves in a position where not just working more inconvenient, like the situation in Mississippi, and also a matter of life and death. Firefighters, paramedics, getting the help they need, cutting off hurricane evacuation routes. In addition, more than 1 in 5 miles of our highways in the United States of America, major roads in America, are in poor condition. 1 in 5 miles. That's more than a safety hazard. That is a drain on our economy. Typical American pays. I know this is going to sound wonky, but it's real. It affects ordinary Americans' lives like the neighborhoods I come from. Typical American pays in tax more than $1,000 a year. And the time and wasted due to traffic congestion because of the nature of our community. We rank 8th in the world. We used to be leader. All told, these delays cost our country, according to economists, an estimated $160 billion a year in waste, extra time away. And that's due to the congestion. Folks in Louisiana know there are much greater threats than just congestion. When the road or the bridge is washed out, or when it can't stand up to a hurricane, people can't get to their jobs, can't get to the schools, families can't get to hospitals safely. This is about creating jobs and also saving lives. You know, my mother used to have an expression go, she said, out of everything bad, Joey, something good. One of the things in this crisis, in terms of the health crisis and COVID has shown us, is that we have to build back better series of ways while building a strong foundation for the American people. When I think about the threats of hurricanes and global warming and the poor condition of our economy as it relates to infrastructure, jobs. Everything we're gone through. Now, the blinders have been taken off. They know how bad a shape things are in, but it creates a little economy. Point out we'll grade up the passage job program, we'll grade up to 60 million good paid jobs. Not $8 an hour, $12 an hour, $15 an hour, prevailing wage jobs. Wages you can raise a family on. My dad was here, just a little city. So, you know, this state is working to rebuild the I-10 bridge, but we give America work in every state, fix roads and bridges modernize bridges and roads and highways and DMOs, putting people to work in good paying jobs. Now, I know a lot of you watching at home are thinking that, well, these jobs are for you. All the folks who left out as the economy so rapidly, everything's changing. And you're wondering, what will be done in the future? Let me tell you something. You feel left out and forgotten in a rapidly changing economy. Let me speak directly to you. 90% of all the infrastructure jobs this is going to create won't require a college degree. 75% of them won't even require an associate's degree. These are jobs that can't be outsourced. Can't be outsourced. It just requires something we've got in good supply here in Louisiana. Hard work, grit, and sweat, like the workers that are here today, and like all the people you know and grew up with. The American Jobs Plan is a blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America. Blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America. To supercharge our economy so we can move goods, get to work, become more competitive around the world. To shorten our commutes, to give us back the lost time of our families, to make our commutes safer, save lives. All told, the American Jobs Plan is going to modernize 20,000 miles of highways and roads. And economically, bridges that require replacement, and that's not safe anymore. It could be one of them. Repairs 10,000 bridges that desperately need to be upgraded. Bridges that get the kids to school, market. When you build better roads, or extend the train line over the next town, or install reliable high-speed internet, it sparks new life and investment in communities. It gives people hope. Business picks up at the local convenience store, at the seafood market, the hardware store, where centers of people's focus and their jobs and their economy. Better jobs start coming to town. Haven't seen that in a long time. Suddenly, young people don't have to make a decision whether they have to leave to have a better opportunity. They stay where they are. That's what infrastructure does. There's a rippling effect. When we make all these investments, we're going to make sure one thing, that we buy American. Now, I know I'm being accused that I say I'm only going to buy American as president, that somehow I'm going to violate trade agreements. No. Since the 1930s, you're allowed to, the president can just decide to buy only American. It's just, I'm going to get to spend somewhere in the order of $600 billion this year of everything from building an aircraft carrier to decks and all. And I can guarantee one thing, I've set in place. Every single thing, from the deck of an aircraft carrier to railing in the new building, is going to be built by an American company, American workers, American supply chain. So that we invest American tax dollars in American workers. And that's what we're going to do. I promise you. Because right now, that law has existed, but you're allowed to have exceptions. So what do? The last president's come along and said, well, we have a little trouble making sure we can find somebody who is able to put the railings in this new building, stairwell. Guess what? There's a whole hell of a lot of Americans that make that. So we're going to have a spot you just call the White House and find you any company that makes those railings. For example, one concrete example, rather than going abroad to purchase them. It's going to create jobs, it's going to generate economic growth. And look, this is all about making a choice. The choice between giving tax breaks to super wealthy and to corporations and investing in working families. We're going to build a country. I look at this as, what I'm talking about is giving essentially tax breaks for hard working middle class and working people who built this country. In my view, it's an easy choice. Invest in workers, wearing hard hats, and doing the hard work of rebuilding the country. And for the line workers, for example, the line workers, electricians who work laying thousands of miles of transmission lines, modern energy grid, engineers and construction workers who work on modern roads and bridges, weatherizing homes and buildings, and setting new standards where they have to be built with better material and they have to be built to withstand heavy wind, hurricane, light, and stand the impact of changing weather. The plumbers and pipe fitters who work 80% of the nation's lead pipes and service lines that are delivering our kids and their last the longest. Economists left, right, and center agree that these are investments we need to make to generate historic economic growth that's maintained, not just bringing jobs back, but creating new jobs. Together with the American Rescue Plan, the American Jobs Plan can help the economy create, as I said, estimated for 16 million good paid jobs. And folks, we can't afford to not do it. We can't afford to not spend the time and effort. Let me explain how we pay for this, because I'm not a deficit spender. Because, we had a tax cut the other team put in back in 2017, and it created a $2 trillion deficit. The vast majority of that going to the top one-tenth of 1% wage earners. I don't want to punish anybody. They entitled to be a millionaire or a billionaire. It's pay your fair share. Make sure that we had the tax rate on the top rate in America. Tax what it was in the Bush administration. It would go from 36 to 39.6%. Guess what? That would raise the minimum of $10 billion. Have what we call plane, or these are most you're able to put tens of thousands of kids in school and in community college. To help America more, increase the educational standard of all Americans. So they have 14 years of school, 2 years of 3 and 5-year-olds, 3, 4, and 5 years old. We show that happens. They get not going to daycare. They go to school. No matter what the background of the home they come from, they catch up. 58% of them want to go to college. We know that now. We also know that if you give 2 years of free community college, you're in a situation where you're in a position that you're going to have your state and every other state in America allowed to go the last 2 years. All those credits are available to your state university, and you get a 4-year degree for half the cost. And/or you get a 2-year degree, and you're able to do what you need. Estimated on increased tax rates by over 20% for someone. Folks, the fact is that, again, I'm not looking to punish anyone. I come from the state of the world, Delaware. 4 corporations are incorporated in the state of Delaware than every other state in the union combined. But guess what? I'm sick and tired of corporate America not paying their fair share. Their taxes used to be 38%, 36%. We all thought that was too high, even in our administration. And we wanted to reduce it to 8%, more competitive. About 24. I reduced it to 21%. You know what the result is? The largest corporation in America, 50 don't pay any tax. $1 billion. Worker and his wife's a school teacher, and at a higher tax rate than corporate America. Not a joke. Not a joke. By the way, they used to do a lot more research and development. Major corporations now, because we changed the law. In fact, it used to be the corporate CEO paid 36 times as much as the average employee in the corporation, Fortune 500. Now it's 456 times. Mother would say, who died and let them on? 56% of all, 53% of all the money they made, $1 trillion over 10 years. What is about time we start working together like mayors and governors. We find more support from Republican governors and mayors and Democratic governors around the country, because they gotta answer the question. It's life better in this town, this city, this state than it was before I got elected. We can make it better. We can make it better. It shouldn't be controversial. So I say God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Well, there was President Biden earlier in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We just watched live as well his departure on Air Force One back to the White House, and we have just a beautiful view of the U.S. Capitol right now in Washington, D.C. Also a really beautiful view of the White House and the Washington Monument that we just want to show. It just looks like a really beautiful day there in the nation's capital. It's about 7:30 at night right now, and twilight really. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then afterward we're going to be talking about the recall with Peloton treadmills, how that's impacting the business and the brand. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
A lot of aspects of the product that our expert testers really liked, and that in our comparative evaluations performed very well compared to other treadmills. And so I think that there's a
Mission urged against using the company's two versions of their treadmill. So we'll be following that story here. We do want to just show you some of these scenes. We are getting some more live pictures out of St. Cloud, Minnesota at the moment because we've been following for the last hours here, several hours, the SWAT situation, Wells Fargo Bank branch, and you can see some of the members of law enforcement right there, still kind of hunkering down, waiting, watching outside of the bank itself. We also know that negotiators are in communication with the suspect as well, and so we're going to be monitoring this story throughout this Thursday evening here as we learn more information, and hopefully law enforcement can safely and peacefully get this under control. The newest thing that we do know right now is just some info on the number of employees and customers inside. There's some preliminary reports that's saying there are multiple employees inside. So that's the latest there. We're going to move right now into some more news, especially out of Washington and the military and the Defense Department. Today was the first day we saw Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin up at the podium taking questions from reporters in the press briefing at the Pentagon. And so we want to play some of that with you. He was joined by Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, as well, for kind of this joint press conference. No doubt they talked about the Afghanistan withdrawal that is happening as we speak.
Thanks, John. First of all, let me start by thanking all of you for coming today. And let me also tell you just how much I appreciate the work that you do. Our free and independent press is one of America's greatest strengths. And when you hold us accountable, it makes us better and it makes our country strong. So thanks for what you do. It's been a very busy 100 days. Focused on my top 3 priorities. I'll quickly review our team has accomplished thus far. Clearly, we have a lot more to do. I'm very proud of the progress that we have made. As you saw in my initial message to the force, our top priority is to defend this nation and to protect our interests. The challenge that we face is COVID-19. have stepped up to save American lives through vaccination. It's been a part of a whole government effort to get shots in arms. And active duty and National Guard troops have administered more than 14 million total shots to the American people. We've also been moving up quickly to vaccinate the force in our broader DoD family. We've administered more than 3 million shots to DoD personnel, and that's more than 550,000 fully vaccinated service members, and more than 644,000 fully vaccinated civilians, contractors, and beneficiaries at home and overseas. We're also working on the global challenge of controlling this pandemic once and for all. In that regard, I should say just a word about the crisis facing our friends in India. We're moving urgently to support India's frontline healthcare workers, and 3 U.S. Air Force C-5 Super Galaxies and a C-17 Globemaster 3 have already delivered many tons of critical supplies. Since some of our strategic changes in the works, let me point you to the remarks that I made in Hawaii last week at the change of command for Indo-Pacific Command. The department is working together on what I call integrated deterrence, a new vision of how we defend the nation in all domains of conflict in a time when technology is changing the nature of warfare. And that's especially important for our priority theater of operations, the Indo-Pacific. We've started a global force posture review to make sure we're positioned well for the challenges that we face around the globe. But certainly, they're in the region as well. And the China Task Force, which is ably led by Dr. Eli Ratner, is developing an important set of recommendations. Further afield, we've condemned Russian aggression in eastern Ukraine and underscored our commitment to helping Ukraine's forces better defend their country. And we're moving to tackle one of the very few truly existential threats that we face, and that's the climate crisis. Our second key priority is taking care of our people, all of our people. And towards that end, Deputy Secretary Hicks has convened the Deputies Workforce Council, which is a new senior leadership forum that addresses the most pressing people management and personnel policy and total force requirements. And as you all know, my first directive was on sexual assault, and that was on my second day in office. We established an independent review commission. I'm going to have an open mind about what they come up with and the recommendations that they make. You've heard me say this before, but sexual assault is a problem that plagues us. It is a readiness issue, it is a leadership issue, and we're going to lead real change for real results. We're also tackling the problem of violent extremists in our ranks and our workforce. And since we're a standout on this issue, we established the Countering Extremism Working Group. And clearly we have a lot of work to do, and I want to be blunt. There is no place for hatred or bigotry or extremist behavior in this department or in the military. This department has an open door to any qualified American who wants to serve. And that's a matter of both national principle and national security. Diversity throughout the force is a source of strength. We can't afford to deprive ourselves of the talents and the voices of the full range of the nation that we defend. Third, we brought a renewed focus on teamwork. The part that's about operating for allies and partners who multiply our strength and make the world stable and secure investing in those relationships, including important business that we've already conducted with the leaders of Japan, the Republic of Korea, Germany, the UK, India, Israel, and NATO. But this is also about how the department fits into the interagency and works with our teammates across the U.S. government. There is no daylight between this department and the State Department on a basic principle, and that principle is that in securing America's interests, diplomacy always comes first. And lastly, teamwork means a new spirit within this building. So it's time to get back to professionalism and normal order and good process. And finally, let me end with Afghanistan. The president has decided to end America's involvement in our longest war. And we're going to do just that. So far, less than 1 weekend, the drawdown is going according to plan. At the same time, we are shifting to a new bilateral relationship with our Afghan security partners. We will work toward our common goals in some new and different ways. I'm grateful for the effort that Generals McKenzie and Miller have put into planning for all of this. And of course, I am enormously proud of the men and women of the military who are now and who have for the past 20 years dedicated themselves to an important mission. That mission is now changing